Hey spinners, welcome back to Spin Cycle with me, your host Tony Giles, aka the Vinyl Ambassador, and on today's episode I am going to talk to you about my favourite song of all time and the mystery of pop music. What is it about the perfect pop song that can just get to us and make us feel a certain way? You know, the composing of music has always been kind of a mystery to me. I love music. I've dedicated my entire life to collecting and building an archive of music. But can I play an instrument? Not even chopsticks. I am hopeless, and I have tried over the years to write lyrics, sing, play the guitar, play the bass, play the drums, play the keys. I am hopeless when it comes to making music, which is why I'm so fascinated when you hear a song and it just hits all of the right spots. And the way I say pop music, I use it in the term of pop meaning popular. That could be music from any genre: rock, pop, indie, hip hop, alternative. It doesn't matter. A pop song is a well-composed song, at least in my opinion. And on this episode, I want to talk to you about my favorite song of all time, a song that originally came out in 1980, but I wouldn't really become aware of it until 15 years later. The song in question is Love Will Tear Us Apart by the band Joy Division. Now, this single was not actually on any Joy Division album. This single was recorded and then released roughly around a month or so, maybe about 6 weeks after the passing of lead singer Ian Curtis. This would then go on to become Joy Division's biggest hit. And Love Will Tear Us Apart is one of those quintessential 80s songs that you just cannot escape. It's up there with The Cure and Love Cats or Close to Me, Echo and the Bunnymen, and Tears for Fears. You know, it's one of those songs that you're always going to hear. Love Will Tear Us Apart. And as soon as I first heard it, I became enamored with the song and then did everything in my power to discover more from the band Joy Division. But I've got a collection of the song here, different versions that I thought I'd share with you and show you that collecting a single song can still be a ton of fun. So this is the original 7-inch as it was released. It came in a picture sleeve, and what's kind of fun about this, the sleeve itself is relatively standard. It was created by the artist Peter Saville, I do believe. But what's cool about this is it being a 425, the A-side plays at 45 RPM, features one song, i.e. Love Will Tear Us Apart. The B-side, however, actually features 2 tracks, These Days and Love Will Tear Us Apart, and actually plays at 33. So one side is 45, one side is 33. And I know that probably confused a lot of people back in the day, even though it does say it on the label. Something you never really saw that often, and something you don't see now. A record with 2 different speeds. Very interesting, and also kind of ties into the whole mystique and the uniqueness of Joy Division. Now, while Joy Division were becoming a big thing inside the UK, they were also creating waves around the world. And what I have here is the 1981 pressing from June of a New Zealand 12-inch for Love Will Tear Us Apart. And this version here, this was actually released as a numbered version. So this is number 1126 of 2,000 copies, released as Factory 2312. And there you go, that's what the 12-inch sleeve looked like. And when it was originally released in the UK, it did also come on a 12-inch that did look like this, but I figured I'd show you a few different ones for this episode. This was released through the RTC label, licensed from Factory. And again, tracks are the same. This is Love Will Tear Us Apart, and the B-side is These Days and Love Will Tear Us Apart. But what's different about this is this version actually is cut at 45 because it's a 12-inch. There is more room. And Joy Division learned something about making room on records from their early debut single, which I'll talk about on another episode at some time. Now, moving ahead a few years, the song was actually released in Japan in July of 1984 and looks a little something like this, using the original artwork, but also combining it with the obi. It does make it look a little bit special, if you ask me. My copy is not in the best of conditions, but you know, when it comes to Japanese pressings, I will take it. I will take anything, and Joy Division are my favorite group, so for me, this is a no-brainer. And obviously you can still see there is quite a lot of shine on this as the way the studio lights are bouncing off of it. But it's very cool. You have the Columbia logo down in the bottom here, 1,500 yen this would have cost you back in the day. And you have the Japanese text across the bottom. The obi strip on this, which has come apart but is still intact. Just says Joy Division, love will tear us apart. But what's cool about this version is it's actually a different recording of the song. This version actually uses an earlier cut of the track that was recorded at the Pennine Studios before the version we all know and love. This version, I think, is actually pretty cool. It's essentially, it's not a demo version because it is a complete version of the song. It's much faster though. It's much faster and looser. I don't want to say it's better than the version we all know and love. No, I don't want to say that. It's different, and sometimes it's the right version to listen to. It's not my go-to, but I do listen to it fairly often. And for something different to listen to, the Japanese 12-inch, it's pretty fun. Now we jump forward in time a little bit and we go over to Poland, because the single was actually released over in Poland on the Ton Press label. And from the research that I've been able to understand, the Ton Press label was actually a state-owned label, and they would license Western pop songs for the Polish market. This one isn't in the greatest of shape, I will say that, but you know, for a 40+ year 7-inch, it's not looking too bad. And one of the things I love about this, one, the original artwork, not something you're going to see all the time, and two, this one has injection molded labels, which it was kind of a thing in the 70s and 80s. You don't see it much past that, but I still think it's very cool. This like black on black, making it very hard to see. And this 7-inch only has 2 tracks. It only has Love Will Tear Us Apart on the A side, and then These Days on the B. So it doesn't make the B side a 33 and include 2 songs. It just has the one. So it's an unusual version of the song. I have actually played it. It's the normal version of the song, and it doesn't sound terrible. It really doesn't. If I come across a better looking copy one day, I of course will pick it up, because having a nice one in the collection will always be my preferred way. And now we jump forward to the first time I ever really became aware of the song. It was reissued in May of 1995, and in May of 1995, I would have turned 17, I believe. As soon as I heard this, I realized that it was something special. I had heard it before. I'd heard it on the radio, kind of in the periphery. And I thought, that's a good song, but I never really took it any further. But then I actually purchased a copy of this 12-inch, not actually this 12-inch. This one I picked up a little while ago, but I actually remember buying this at Trump's record store in Barkingside, which is in Essex, many moons ago. In fact, it was in May of 95. And this actually became a hit once again in 1985. This one has different artwork, as you can see. And what's different about this version is it has some really terrible remixes. It has the original version, the radio version, and then the Arthur Baker remix, which I love Arthur Baker, I really do. The remix on this is just dreadful. It is not good. It is not worth listening to. Let me assure you that. Plus it also has the original version of Atmosphere on the B-side. But you get a nice hype sticker that says Joy Division, Love Will Tear Us Apart, exclusive mixes by Don Gehman and Arthur Baker. And then, yeah, this was how it was released in 1995 and introduced a whole slew of people to Joy Division, me included. It was from this that I went out and I picked up the Joy Division albums, not realizing that Love Will Tear Us Apart is not actually on an album. No, this was back in the days when bands would actually keep singles as singles and albums as albums. But there you go. This is, I'm not going to say this is the last time the song was released, because no, it has actually been released a couple of times since then as various different, there was a record store day release, and I don't consider it to be like a full-on single release. There have been other versions of it since then. There's a picture disc and there's a few other different versions from around the world, but that was kind of the last time I believe it was released as a single. And I've collected these over the years because I am just absolutely enamored with that song. Like I said in the intro, I am amazed that people can just pluck these things out of thin air and just create magic. And for me, Love Will Tear Us Apart is the ultimate pop song. There is melancholy, there is longing, but there is also melody and there is hope. I absolutely adore this song. If you've never heard it, do yourself a favor, check it out ASAP. But that's it for this episode of Spin Cycle. Thank you once again for joining me on the Memphis Record Pressing YouTube channel. And remember, if you'd like to cop yourself some nice Memphis merchandise, head on over to mrpswag.com. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, everything you're looking for is all over there on the web store. Remember, when you think vinyl, think Memphis.